4th of July is right around the corner. Hopefully, y'all have some fun plans. I'm going out to a Rockies game tomorrow night, so that'll be a lot of fun. And then probably go on a hike or something this weekend, get outside a little bit. We're talking, Joe, Tom, and I were doing the first couple podcasts of the franchise focus uh, this morning, and we're all kind of in agreement that 4th of July weekend is usually um, kind of like right when we start like delineating, okay, it's time to get locked in for the season. So yeah, we're at that point now. Franchise focus stuff is going to be up on the site next week. We got some podcasts coming out. It's gonna be a good time. But yeah, excited to stream. This will be, I think, my third one of this year. I think I did a draft championship in May, cut line in late May, and then now this one. So it'll be fun. So we're drafting from the 102. Pretty easy start. You know, you just take Dalvin Cook. I kind of considered Derrick Henry in my queue, but Dalvin Cook's got just a little bit more of a ceiling with his passing down usage. But the plan here is, so it's a third round reversal in these $150 best ball draft championships. So the plan here is, you know, obviously I'll come back and I'll get my 211 pick at 23 overall, and then I'll have to wait until 35. So kind of a chalkboard to start between all the running backs. We've got 8 running backs up the board, and Kelsey. My plan is a receiver. So we'll see if I can get my guy here. But let me tweet this out from the. All right. So the plan is for a receiver. First round wraps up pretty much a chalk first round. We had Cook after I took Cook. It was Henry, Barkley, Kelsey at 5, Zeke, Kamara, Taylor, Chubb, Eckler, Hill, and Akers. I've noticed Eckler's really started to kind of skyrocket up the board the last couple of weeks. You know, I think people are just kind of coming around to how safe he actually is, even though he probably doesn't have like a true top 5 ceiling. His floor as a receiver is so safe. I've tried this stat out a couple times, but in Herbert's starts last year, in the 7 or 8 games that Eckler played, Eckler actually averaged more receiving fantasy points per game than Alvin Kamara did, which is crazy. Alvin Kamara led all running backs in receiving fantasy points per game last year. So I think people are just kind of wisening up to Eckler's floor as of late. I was usually getting him in like the mid-second round. Like when I first started doing drafts, I usually start in like right after the draft in May. So he's definitely come up the board. Nice value on Hill at 11. And then we had Akers, Diggs, Gibson, Jones, and Edwards-Helaire. Edwards-Helaire is another guy who's kind of snuck up the board here recently in ADP. Basically, he's running back the same exact situation he had last year, and he just got really unlucky in the touchdown department. He was averaging over 80 scrimmage yards per game and just basically didn't score. All right. Najee Harris, Joe Mixon are the mid-second round picks. Not really much surprise there. I was kind of hoping Mixon would get to me, but probably knew that wasn't going to happen. Then Devontae Adams. Hey, Jeff Odell's in this draft. And Jeff Odell's an NFFC veteran. Let's see here. We're going to go. Mike Sanda, by the way, the Sandman is picking 10th in this draft. He goes with an Eckler Jones start. Notice he's been drafting just a little bit of Aaron Jones recently. Damn it. We wanted Calvin Ridley. Wasn't meant to be. That's the guy I was targeting. That's the receiver I wanted. All right, we're about to be on the clock here. So the last 3 picks after Mixon was Adams, Hopkins, and Ridley. I talked about this with Tom and Joe today on the podcast, the Falcons Franchise Focus podcast, but we were all kind of in agreement that Ridley should be going ahead of Hopkins, and he honestly should be going ahead of Devontae Adams at this point. So there's that tier: Adams, Hopkins, Ridley. It's just such a picking a receiver in the second round this year is such a good spot. And well, you know, another one of my receiver targets falls off the board. So I'm gonna go. I think this is gonna be the 3rd time I've taken Darren Waller. at the end of the second round. And man, it's one of those things where you're just securing a positional advantage. I kind of feel like Waller in the second round is kind of like how Kelsey was in the second round last year. You're getting a tight end who finishes as a top 12 option at minimum in 75-80% of his games. So finishes as a top 6 option. That's an elite option in 40% of his games or so. And it's such a thin position, even in a non tight end premium league. I still think there's a premium on getting and securing an elite, truly elite tight end. And Kelsey and Waller are the 1-2 for me. I think Kittle is not a hugely distant third, but he is a third behind Kelsey and Waller. So happy to get Waller at least. Kind of bummed I missed on Ridley and Metcalf because those are two guys I'd earmarked there, but I'm fine with Waller. And now the good thing with drafting Waller or Kittle in the second round, or Kittle in the third, I should say, and you have a back, let's say you got a top 3 pick, you draft McCaffrey, Cook, or Henry, you come back and you get Waller. The good thing about that is it frees you up for the rest of the draft. Like you've got your anchor RB1, you've got your anchor tight end 1. Now I can just sit back and hammer receivers for the rest of this draft. I can just, in this league, we're starting at least 3 receivers and we have a flex spot. Usually speaking, I want upside in that flex spot. Unless I, get lucky and find a way to, find a way to get into an RB3, 3 straight RBs start that I absolutely love. I'm usually aiming for receiver in that flex spot. So, even though I missed on my receivers that I wanted, I'm still happy to get Waller and not really have to worry too much about tight end. And also, I think Cook Waller is kind of a unique start. You won't see a ton of, anchor RB1 like Cook and Waller starts. Usually Waller goes a little bit earlier in these things. So I'm pretty happy about that. All right. Third round gets started with Keenan Allen, Patrick Mahomes, AJ Brown, Mike Thomas. There's Kittle in the middle of the third, Swift and Dobbins. Swift has kind of quickly become a guy I wasn't drafting at all in the second round to somebody I am certainly targeting now in the third. So no surprise in this sharp room, Swift goes in the mid third. That's a great value for, even though he's slipping in ADP, I still think there's a reasonable and good shot for him to pay that off, especially now that he's, gone from like an RB10 in cost to like RB16. Nice little value, even though the Lions are probably going to stink. Jamal Williams will be involved, whatever. But I think everybody kind of overreacted to that Gurley news. And once again, I get sniped on a receiver I wanted. I had Allen Robinson in my queue. It's fine, though. We'll go with Amari. Amari Cooper is the wide receiver 1. And again, I think I've said this. I'm going to say this again until I'm blue in the face. All the Cowboys receivers are undervalued again. You don't have to worry about who you're starting. There's CeeDee Lamb off the board at 312. No surprise. Cowboys receivers, man. Both Cooper and Lamb have wide receiver 1 in the range of outcomes. I love Michael Gallup too. All right, I'm back on the board. Lamb, Mike Evans are the turn 312 and 401. I could go back here, but I don't necessarily love it. It's actually a really tough call. Do I want to go back or receiver? I'm gonna do this. We're gonna take Robert Woods. I'm sure the back I was thinking about taking is going to go off the board here in the next couple picks because it's a great value. But just again, that was kind of the pivot I had to make is I wanted to go Cook plus receiver with Ridley or Metcalf, and there goes Miles Sanders. I was debating Sanders or Woods there. I went Woods just simply because I'm pretty concerned that Sanders is going to lose a lot of his passing down volume, not only because Jalen Hurts scrambles a ton, but because Kenny Gainwell is going to play. I honestly don't know how I have a great number on it, but I think it's going to be significant enough of snaps to really hurt Sanders' passing down usage. So, while Jalen Hurts' presence really helps Sanders' rushing efficiency, I think it's going to hurt him in the receiving department. And I've kind of just found myself pretty much not necessarily out on Miles Sanders because that's a great price at 4.3. I've just found myself not drafting him as much as maybe the cost indicates there. But yeah, fourth round goes Mike Evans. I took Woods, then Sanders, then Mike Davis, which is a little bit of a surprising pick at the 4.4, and then Josh Allen. If you don't know, these $150 best ball draft championships, they're actually 6 points per passing touchdown. So pretty different from the industry standard. And you'll notice that quarterbacks fly off the board a lot earlier because of it. And I mean, it makes sense. I mean, you just get a higher floor and ceiling up, even if it's a onesie position, it gives you a higher floor and ceiling with the 6 points per passing touchdown. And you're going to see most teams will have two by usually like the 12th or 13th round. You got to have some pretty big conies to not have two by the end of the 12th or 13th round in these things. So yeah, no surprise. This is kind of where I thought it would start going. Allen, the 4-5. Then we had DJ Moore, Godwin, and Murray and Dak. And again, in these leagues, that's where these guys go. I'm sure Mike Sanda had one of them eyed up. He back-to-back Murray and Prescott go off the board. All right. I think I kind of actually regret the Sanders pick. I think I talked myself out of it. But whatever. It's all good. We're good with Robert Woods. He's got a receiver one ceiling. So does Cooper. So it's fine. It's fine. And I needed receivers. But what do you know? Mike Sandman takes Lamar Jackson. I figured he probably was going to go that route, but yeah. So we got the run of Allen, Murray, Prescott, and Jackson in the fourth round out of the way, followed up by Montgomery and Jacobs as the final two backs to end the fourth round. This is officially where the running backs die. Mike Davis went off the board a little earlier than he usually does, but honestly, in the fourth round, let's see. Yeah, attached to a two receiver start with Barkley. I can get behind that. Ridley and McLaurin plus Davis. But yeah, this is where it is, man. I mean, it's like, after Jacobs goes off the board and Robinson, and then there's like two other guys, it is a gigantic long tier from here on out between like rounds 6 to 11. Which I think makes that Sanders pick a mistake, or not taking Sanders a mistake, but we'll see what receivers are left on the board. I just love Robert Woods and love the idea of pairing him with somebody like Amari Cooper, who is pretty volatile week to week. But I will check that out, Ben. Ty's comment. Shout out to Ty McLaughlin who's watching in YouTube. Out on Miles Sanders. Congrats on being basic. Hey man, I was super in on Miles Sanders last year. And this year, yeah, I don't know, man. That was the right spot to get him. Admittedly, at the 4.3, I love Robert Woods. I've got Robert Woods. I'm gonna push an update to my best ball ranks. I've got Woods significantly higher than the market. But yeah, I guess I am the basic bet. You're right, Tyler. Good call. Okay. Fifth round is James Robinson, Julio, Deontay Johnson, Adam Thielen. My God, Adam Thielen in the fifth round. That's just free money. Followed by T. Higgins and Cooper Kupp. Yeah. Oh, there goes Myles Gaskin. So there's one of those backs we were talking about. That's kind of in that dead zone. It's basically, and there's the second one with Hunt. It's basically Gaskin and Hunt in this range, and that's kind of it. I mean, that's what you're seeing. Chase Edmonds, though, kind of a sneaky pick. Oh boy. Can we get there? Are we going to get there? Tyler Lockett in the late fifth round. Let's go. Damn. Love that. That's like the quickest pick I'm going to make all night. Tyler Lockett, 59 overall, is my third receiver. That gets it moving. All right. Little Broncos backstack. Okay. Javonte Williams and Melvin Gordon. Interesting. All right. I'm back on the clock here. all the high end quarterbacks are gone. Wilson went one pick ahead of Lockett, but I'm fine with that. So I'm probably not looking at a quarterback here. I think I know where I'm going, but just checking. Make sure I'm not missing anything. All right. Kenny Galladay is the wide receiver 4. Honestly, I don't I don't love Kenny Galladay's fit in New York this year. I just love this price, man. Like, yeah, give me the guy who's probably going to get a 22-ish% target share on a top 12, top 14 in terms of pass rate team. He's going to be their contested catch down the field threat. He's going to be their end zone threat. Legitimate chance for Galladay to get like 120-ish targets. He has 8 to 10 touchdown upside, and he's being drafted as a wide receiver 3. Just so happens on this team, I got him as my 4. But yeah, I don't love the setup. I don't love Daniel Jones. I don't love Jason Garrett by any stretch. But yeah, man, I just think it's the right price on the player. And so far, so good. I think even though I'm being basic and I missed out on Miles Sanders, which is probably a mistake, looking back on it, especially with the way Lockett and Galladay fell, I'm actually really happy with the way this draft has started. So got Cook in the first, Waller in the second, Cooper in the third, even on the third round reversal, then Woods, Lockett, and Galladay, ripping off 5 straight pass catchers after taking Cook. Kyle Pitts at the 6'7" is actually probably one of the best values you're going to be able to get him at. So after I took Galladay, it's Jamar Chase, who was my second guy in line there, then Odell Beckham, Travis Etienne, and then Brandon Ayuk, and then Kyle Pitts. So Kyle Pitts at the 6'7" is probably one of the best values you're going to get on Pitts. Shout out, yeah. Happy Canada to you too, Ty. Yeah, I know I love the modified 0 RB build, even though the fantasy Twitter hates whatever modified 0 RB with the phrasing, whatever. Hero RB, whatever you call it, whatever you want to call it. I love that in best ball. I think I talked about this on the first stream because I think maybe I got McCaffrey. I think I got the 101 on that first stream, but yeah, man, you just in best ball, like it's such an advantage to have one of the first 3 picks, really even the first 5 picks this year. I think there is a drop off after Cook and Henry at 2 and 3, but even then, like Barkley, Zeke, whatever, at 4 and 5, it just makes so much sense when you lock in that RB1 who's going to finish in the top 12, top 15 in 80% of his games or so. It almost makes your RB2, I won't say irrelevant, but like you can just kind of stream that position. You can just get like 2 to 3 guys. And what I'm planning on doing is get 2 to 3 guys in like 8th, 9th round. I've got a list, 8th, 9th round, take 2 or 3 more in the 11th or 12th. And the way the ADP is setting up this year, with such a first round and early second round heavy running back builds, it opens up this kind of, hero RB, modified 0 RB, whatever you want to call it, build even better for the third round or, for a top 3 pick. Because like I said, you get Cook, you get Waller, and then from there on out, you're freed up to kind of build your receiver core. And Cooper, Woods, Lockett, and Galladay is like, to me, that's about as good as you can ask for with the third round reversal. So yeah, man, I love the hero RB builds. And hopefully we can get some solid, RB2 to RB5 options and like starting now, like round 7 to 12. So we'll go from there. All right. After Pitts was taken, we got Claypool, little tight end run, Claypool, Andrews, Juju, Hawkinson, Herbert to finish out the 6th round, followed by Cortland Sutton. Such a gentlemanly name, Cortland Sutton and Jerry Jeudy. So back-to-back Broncos are off the board. Kind of an interesting wrinkle to this. Team 1 took McCaffrey, then followed it up with 3 straight receivers with Jefferson, Lamb, and Evans, which is really sick. Then went back to Javonte Williams and Melvin Gordon, so just stacking the Broncos backfield. And that's like, I think that's the first time I've seen that this year, where you stack that backfield. But man, if Aaron Rodgers ends up going to Denver, that's like Money in the Bank, even if Melvin Gordon's like kind of dead. Um, that's a league winning duo right there at very palatable prices. So I'm wondering I'm wondering if that's what it is. That, some of these Broncos guys going off the board a little bit earlier, like Gordon, might just be people thinking Rodgers will go there. Or maybe the backfield is just underrated in general. Broncos certainly have a good defense, and they're going to be in a lot of close games, which will lend itself to more running. Okay, so Sutton, Judy, Goddard, Anderson, Jones, Chark, and Fant. I am like 3 picks away here. So, and I don't know if I'm going to be able to stop drafting receivers. No. Shocker is Odell. He took Debo. That's the guy I had zeroed in on. It's probably a little bit of wishful thinking to get Debo there, but whatever. It's cool. Let's do this. He doesn't have a quarterback. I think. All right, cool. So Trey Sermon goes right ahead of me. Let me double check. If I'm missing out on him. If I do, okay. We're going to take first quarterback. We're going to stack up Stafford with Robert Woods. And again, this is 6 point per passing touchdown. I would never take Matt Stafford at the end of the seventh round in any other league except for this one, especially since I have Woods. Just gives me access to a higher ceiling on a weekly basis with Stafford and Woods. And I think Stafford has like legit 40 passing touchdown upside, especially in a 17-game season. I was looking into this earlier today for the Franchise Focus series, but one of the biggest things here, let me make this pick and I'll come back to Stafford. Ben, is it time for the Eagles to fly? Is it time for the Eagles to fly? Because I think I'm going to come back and get Hurts. I thought he would take Hurts. There's Hurts again, man. QB10? All right. Yeah, we love that. So Jalen Hurts QB10. So I round out the 7th, 8th round turn with 2 quarterbacks, Stafford and Hurts. Real quick on Stafford, one of the things I was looking at is just like how aggressive Stafford is on early downs, and his average depth of target last year was like 5th or 6th in the league on 1st and 2nd downs. Goff was at the bottom of the league. So I think just having Stafford is going to open up this offense as a whole. Just going to give him way more upside. So I love the Stafford to Woods stack. And then, I mean, if you've been listening to anything, pretty much like myself or Scott Barrett or Joe Dolan's been saying about Jalen Hurts, like, yeah, sure, he might only complete 58% of his passes, but man, like this is another Konami code quarterback who's going to put up big numbers on the rushing game and scramble and provide so much weekly upside there. So I love that pairing between Stafford and Hurts. Stafford gives me the safety, Hurts gives me the ceiling, and again, kind of played out perfectly. I wanted a back there. Actually, I wanted a receiver in Debo, but he went in like the mid 7th round. I wanted Debo. I thought about taking Mostert. He went right after, and now we have a huge quarterback run. So I'm thrilled to be at the start of that quarterback run because after I took Hurts, it went Ryan, Brady, Rodgers, and Burrow. So after I took those 2 guys, I think the guy at the turn took Tannehill. So just a massive quarterback run. And that's the thing about these draft championships, man, is like, people get quarterback hungry real quick. And in this one, quarterbacks they went consensus in the first 4 rounds. Like you had that, top 4 or 5 tier. I was a little bit surprised to see like Stafford and Tannehill and Hurts on the board still in the 7th, 8th round. Usually those guys are like late-ish 6, like kind of where Justin Herbert went in this league. But yeah, thrilled about that. So got ahead of the run. Now I don't have to worry about quarterback, and now it's just about nailing these running back targets and peppering in some receivers. Okay, so Thomas and Gallup are off the board nearing the end of the 8th round here, and I need some backs. I've only got one. All right. And there's one of them. Two of them I had earmarked. Sandman goes with Mike Sandy goes with Mike Carter, and then Damian Harris at the is that the 8 turn? It's not the 8 turn yet, is it? No, one pick ahead of the 8 turn. Yeah, I like Damian Harris quite a bit, man. I just think, at these prices in like the mid 8th round, the biggest thing for Harris is whether or not, well, it's not whether or not, it's how long Cam Newton starts, because Cam is going to take a lot of those goal line carries, pretty much all of them. But once Mac Jones becomes a starter and they flip that switch, I mean, Mac obviously can't run. So that's really going to help Harris's touchdown upside. And you're buying him at, mid RB3 prices. So, yeah, absolutely love Harris in the 8th round. And it was him and Mostert were the two guys I was eyeing up when I took Hurts, but I just love the idea of pairing up Stafford and Hurts, like I mentioned, for that kind of floor ceiling balance. Because even if Hurts, let's say Hurts shits the bed this year, which is certainly within the range of outcomes. I mean, Stafford is going to be pretty much locked in, every week for 260 yards and a couple scores. So I can get away with that. All right. So Leonard Fournette is the first pick of the 9th round, followed by Mike Pittman, then Marquise Brown, Tyler Boyd, and Zachariah Moss. I kind of had Moss queued up, but it's all good. We'll come back. Got quite a few backs that I'm still interested in here. AB, good pick. Antonio Brown is a fantastic pick right there. I tweeted this out yesterday, but Antonio Brown mirrored Mike Evans and Chris Godwin's production. Damn, great pick with Curtis Samuel there too. Of course, it's Odell. James Conner. Let's see. Don't take my guy. Don't take my guy. You don't want to. Thank you. All right, so RB2, AJ Dillon. My man, I mean, if he steps into that Jamal Williams role, he'll get 120 carries, probably not a ton of targets, but 6-7 touchdown upside. I'm going to come back. Do I want him or him? Him or him? Let's go here. All right. So with this team, I had Dalvin Cook at 102. I did not take my RB2 or RB3 until the 9th and 10th round. Just loaded up at tight end with Waller, loaded up at receiver with 4 guys I feel really good about, 2 back-to-back quarterbacks. And then I've got AJ Dillon and Gus Edwards. And the reasoning behind this is Dillon and Edwards are kind of the same projection for me, right? 120-ish carries, somewhere in the range of 600 to 800 yards and touchdown upside, right? The good thing that both of these guys provide is they're the clear RB2s on their teams. And especially in Edwards' case, I mean, Ravens are going to run the ball, anywhere from 30 to 35 times a game. Their backs get 20 to 25 of those carries. J.K. Dobbins isn't going to get every single one of them, and we know they love to rotate. So I have Edwards penciled in for 10 to 12 carries every game, splitting the goal line work with Dobbins. And that's, fine. I've got Cook, my world beater, at RB1. I really just need somewhere above, slightly above replacement level as my RB2 every week, and just hope that, my difference makers in Waller and my 4 receivers and my 2 strong quarterbacks, even though they're back in Stafford and Hurts, are good enough to kind of make up the difference. And Dillon and Edwards can hopefully tread water and, get me 50 yards and a score every game between those 2 guys. I still have a ways to go with the backs, but we'll see how this board plays out. But I like where it's at so far. Okay, so after I took Edwards, it was Brandon Cooks, Baker Mayfield, Will Fuller. Fuller is really starting to slip, man. I think he was going way, way too early in like May. Like he was still going in the 6th or 7th round. Like people were still taking him like he was on the Texans. Yeah, huge downgrade from Tua. More target competition with Jalen Waddle and Devontae Parker, Mike Gesicki. That's about where Fuller should go. That might be a little bit of a value on him, but it's good to see the market kind of coming back around because Fuller was just, as much as it pains me to say, he was like an auto fade earlier this year. Fuller was my guy in the 7th round. Marquise Brown was my guy in the 6th round last year. So I went 1 for 2 on the mid-round upside receivers last year, but Fuller was certainly made up for the mistake that was Hollywood Brown in the 6th round last year. All right. Oh man, Ben Wentz is off the board. Carson Wentz is off the board. First pick of the 11th round. So there you go. Wentz. We do not recognize that name in this house, except for your pup. But yeah, except for the pup. But yeah, Carson Wentz, first pick of the 11th round. I think that would make him, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Yeah. QB 18, QB 19. So that's about right. You stack up anybody with Wentz? No. Okay. All right. So 11th round is underway. Wentz, Waddle, and again, I'm just kind of playing the waiting game with backs here. Oh God, there goes one of them. Damn it, Darrell Henderson. Yeah, I've been taking Henderson everywhere. Thanks, Mike. Appreciate you. All right, we'll adjust. Hopefully I can get one of these guys. But yeah, just kind of playing the waiting game now with receivers, or excuse me, with backs. We'll see here. I got a couple receivers I got my eye on here too, so we'll see how this board shakes out. Let's see. Definitely going to take him if he's there. Pollard. Yeah, Pollard was a good pick. Oh, God damn. Latavius is gone too. Shoot. That's okay. I mean, I'm glad I got Dillon and Edwards. But yeah, Murray and Henderson were my two guys there. I thought it was completely unlikely that both would be there when I picked here in the back half of the 11th. I was hoping one would slide, but yeah, two great picks between Henderson and Murray. Sandwich in between Pollard there. Pollard's a fun pick too. But Zeke is the bell cow there. Murray and Henderson at least have pathways to 10, 12 touches every single week, whereas I don't think Pollard does at this point. Unless Zeke gets hurt. That's all good. We'll come back and make some moves here. Yeah, I like that. Do I want to go? Yeah, I do. All right, so I'm about to be on the clock. Corey Davis goes 2 picks ahead of me here. This is a really hard tier, actually. Great pick, Justin Fields. That's one of the guys I had in my queue. Justin Fields in the 11th round is stealing in this format. Let's see. He does not have 2 quarterbacks. I'm okay with letting him go, though. We'll go with Marvin. All right. Marvin Jones is my receiver 5. Kind of just feels like all Jags receivers are a little bit undervalued right now. Massive upgrade in quarterback, probable upgrade in coaching staff. I'm not so sure about Urban Meyer. Sorry, Jags fans. Sorry to my buddies back in Jacksonville, but yeah, I think Marv linking up back with his old OCs is nice, and he he's Marvin Jones is always due for those 5 catch 120-yard touchdown games, and getting as my wide receiver 5 on this team. I'm definitely happy with that. Now I have a call here. Um, Daniel Jones goes off the board at 132, followed by Ingram. So team one has a nice healthy Giants stack now. Did he not take? No, he did not. Okay. Now I have an interesting call here because I wanted a back, but I still could go with him. Mm, let's see. Got 20 seconds to decide. You know what? Whatever. On this team, I'm fine with this. Yeah. 12th round, JD McKissick. It's certainly not going to win me this league. And there goes Russell Gage. He was my next guy in the queue. That's what I was going to take if I didn't take McKissick. It's happened a few times tonight, but yeah, just with this team build, I don't really love JD McKissick, to be honest, this year, guys. I just, Antonio Gibson is going to be used, I won't say way more in the passing game, but it's going to be enough to kind of hurt McKissick's value. Because last year, McKissick widely outsnapped Gibson on third downs. It was like 180 snaps to like 30 for Gibson. It was kind of wild, honestly. That gap is going to narrow, but I still think McKissick has 60 catches, 50 catches in his range of outcomes. And on this team, I just need 10 points for my RB2 every week. So I'm fine with McKissick, even though it's not one of the upside guys like I wanted, because Murray and Henderson both have like bell cow upside if the backs in front of them get hurt. I'm still fine with McKissick on this team. Again, not going to win me this league, but it's probably going to be enough to kind of hold me over at that RB2 spot. So Dylan, Edwards, McKissick, I'm fine with those guys as my RB2, 3, and 4 to book and cook. The other thing with the one final thing I want to talk about with the zero modified, like the modified zero RB builds, is that if let's say last year, regardless of who you took as your RB2, right? If you took McCaffrey or Barkley with the first 2 picks, which everybody was doing for the most part, some people were taking Cook at 2 or Henry at 2, whatever. But for the most part, McCaffrey and Barkley were 1-2. Like, let's say you turned around and you took somehow you got like, let's say just Nick Chubb, or you picked up Antonio Gibson in the 6th or 7th round, whatever. Your win rate by taking McCaffrey or Barkley was still just so small, because one, you were getting nothing out of your first round pick, and two, your first round pick is supposed to be the guy like McCaffrey or Barkley that's scoring 25 to 30 points per game. That hole is completely missing. Like, you never even had the opportunity to make that hole up. So the point with the zero RB builds in best ball is like, okay, if Dalvin Cook gets hurt and misses 6 weeks, 8 weeks, whatever, this team's dead already. You know what I'm saying? So like, why would I even waste my time taking that second or third running back that has a pretty high bust rate in like the mid rounds, especially the mid rounds this year? Why even waste my time? Like let's just max out the variance. Hope Cook stays healthy for all 17 games or 16 games, whatever he can play this year. I get my advantage at RB1, and I can make up that difference, hoping that these final 3 running backs that I took all work out. So that's kind of the theory, at least in my head, logically, of how that works out. There's some data behind it too, but I just think logically that's the way it works with these backsmen. Is like, you take one in the top 5 or 2 in the first 2 rounds, and one of them gets hurt. It's very, very hard to make up that difference because you do not have access to the weekly waiver wire. Plenty of teams that had McCaffrey and Barkley. I was in that hole, plenty last year in season long, where I had, Barkley, McCaffrey, and, I can make up for it a little bit on the waiver wire and just kind of scratch and claw back into contention. But when in best ball, you're dead. Like, there's, unless you draft a perfect team after that, you're pretty much dead. It's just the way it goes. So, yeah, actually kind of like how this worked out. I'm fine with trading Sanders for Woods. I was really hoping I wouldn't regret that one, but the Stafford to Woods stack, I think makes some sense. And then, kind of bookending all of this with Waller is really sweet. So Yeah, pretty happy with how this is going so far. Definitely need a couple more backs. I've got a couple more I've got my eye on. I think I might go ahead and take them here in the 13th so I don't miss them. But okay. Through all that blabber, we had a 12th round with a lot of quarterbacks, a lot of mid-tier quarterbacks come off the board. Fitzmagic, Zach Wilson goes ahead of Trey Lance. It's an interesting one. And Derek Carr. Then we had Henry and Gronk at the turn, followed by Ertz, who's probably going to get traded the next couple days. There's been rumors swirling for the last couple months that he's going to the Bills. Just makes too much sense. Then Darnold and Goff. So you see quarterbacks. Goff goes off the board here at 150 overall, and most like BB10s on the NFFC. If you just play in like our fantasy points championship that just filled, there's gonna be another one that's gonna come out in the next couple of weeks. But if you play in that, like Goff pretty much never goes drafted. So that just kind of gives you the difference there between, not only is it 6 point per passing touchdown, but this thing is 35 rounds. So you're gonna need at least 3 playable quarterbacks. You need 2 solid ones to feel good about, but 3 will get you there. Yeah, and Mac Jones, there you go, goes off the board. All right, so I'm feeling good about the tight ends left on the board. There's a big gap in tight ends. So I feel pretty good about that. I'm going to continue to wait on my second tight end, I think. Receivers are still pretty deep too. Really, quarterback just went nuts the last like round and a half. I'm going to wait on my QB3. So it's really down to him and him. Yeah, whatever. Same theory with JD McKissick. James White on this team. I need 10 points. James White hopefully catches 50 or 60 balls. And I think I mentioned this earlier with Damian Harris, but like if Mac Jones does start, it's huge for James White too, because Cam is often scrambling and not checking down to his backs. So yeah, like the James White there pick there too. So he's my RB5. Now I have a call here. Do I wait on my second tight end, or do I take? Yeah, I like this, man. I think I tweeted this out last year, and it just didn't work out because I was on Rager so heavily. But again, this year is setting up just like last year. There's so many rookie receivers that are great values. Rashad Bateman in the 14th round, like I get it. The Ravens are extremely, extremely run heavy. But man, first and second round receivers are going off the board in like the 13th, 14th round. Like even if, like last year, Justin Jefferson set up going into the year, we would have said the same thing. It's a run heavy team. Quarterback has, questions. It's not a perfect quarterback situation. And Justin Jefferson, look what happened. I mean, he was a league winner last year. Teams that drafted him like had a 19 or 20% win rate just by drafting that one player. So this year, man, I think it's kind of the same setup where you got a lot of great rookie receivers going off the board in these kind of middle rounds. Yeah, just saw that. So Bob, why didn't handcuff Cook? Here's the way I think of it in best ball, right? If Dalvin Cook stays healthy for all, let's say Dalvin Cook misses 2 games, he just has a tweaked hamstring, whatever. Okay. If Dalvin Cook stays healthy for those 15, 16, 17 games, Alexander Mattison is not contributing to my lineup whatsoever. None. Madison goes in a range where, 11th, 12th, 13th round, where I just nabbed 2 guys like Edwards, 3 guys really, Edwards, McKissick, and White. All 3 of those guys are not blocked by my RB1. So if I took Madison, I have a hole at RB3 or RB4. That guy is not producing points whatsoever. I mean, it's like 1 out of 50 games where Dalvin Cook and Alexander Mattison would both enter my lineup at the same time. Like very, very low probability. So the reason I almost never handcuff in best ball leagues is for that simple reason. I don't want to block myself from starting points, and especially on this team. Like, if I had taken, let's say I had taken Cook, let's say I took Cook and I came back and I took Swift in the second round and then I took Sanders in that 4th round, like we were talking about, right? then I might think about taking Alexander Madison just because, hey, it's the 13th round. Cook, it's enough upside. If Cook gets hurt, I've got Madison to fill in. Fine. But on this team and on most teams, I'm not trying to block myself. This game is an opportunity cost game, right? If I take Cook and he stays healthy for 16 or 17 games, there's almost no way Madison affects my team and my lineup whatsoever. And I'd rather just spend that pick on a back who could. So I hope that makes sense. I also hope I'm not a moron and rambling on about that, but that's at least that's my logic behind it. Okay, so 14th round just wrapped up. We got a couple more quarterbacks. There goes Taysom. Kind of had my eye on him a little bit later. Dalton, interesting one. Jimmy G, I can kind of get behind it. And then Beasley with somebody took a nice little pick. What was a nice stab on Beasley there. Sorry, Joe. Got a copy of there. Oh man, Cole Beasley needs to stick to rapping. It's probably that's actually what Beasley might be best at, is rapping. But Ramondre Stevenson off the board at 15, then Troutman, Aguilar, Dalton Schultz wrapping around here. So I definitely need to be eyeing up my second tight end here. I'm hoping there's not like a run. Let's see. This mid rounds. He has two. I think O'Connor has two. Yeah, he's got two. Kelsey, okay. Well, Bond doesn't have one. I'm gonna be safe. I'll be safe for my tight end too. Oh man, Rondale Moore, great pick. That's the same thing I was just talking about, man. These first, second round receivers, even though this class is a little murky for rookies, like these guys are just amazing values right now. I'm usually coming out of drafts with at least one, sometimes 2 to 3. But Moore is someone who I had my queue. I was hoping he would get back to me here. Jarwin Ferkser. Let's see if I can get my guy. Come on. Roll the dice for me. Yeah. Austin Hooper. Ben says that the Jarwin Ferkser sounds like a legit name. It does. It kind of sounds like a bounty hunter on Star Wars or something like that. But no. Yeah, it is close enough, right? It's close enough. You could believe it. Damn. Okay, so Gio Bernard goes one pick ahead of Hooper. I didn't even see that because I was closed in on Hooper. I really wanted Gio in this team, but it's all good. Let's come back. You know what, man? Oh, it's so close between these two guys. Because I feel like if I wait on this other guy, I'm definitely not going to get him, but I'm actually okay with that. Man, quarterback just completely went nuts in this league, man. Usually get a few stragglers at this point, but okay. I'll take Smokey. John Brown, my wide receiver 7 on this team. He's going to have those spiked weeks. Maybe he turns into kind of what Nelson Aguilar was last year, as the Raiders down the field threat. Henry Ruggs is going to be better this year, but I think the Raiders are pretty clear on what they want to do. They just kind of want speed at the boundaries and open up Waller in the middle. I actually really like the Raiders passing game this year. It's weird to say that, but I like all their prices. I like Waller. I haven't been drafting a ton of Ruggs, but I'm fine with them. I like Brown. I like Bryan Edwards. It's kind of easy to be bullish on that passing offense. They're going to be efficient. I mean, Gruden's going to Gruden, but they're going to be efficient. They're going to be fine. So, and they're easy to stack too. Derek Carr is really, really cheap this year, but yeah. So fine with Brown as my 7. I wanted Gio Bernard there, but I honestly didn't even notice he was off the board right before I took Cooper, but it's fine. Okay, so first defense goes off the board. I believe that's the first defense in the Bucks. It is. And then we got Rams and the football team. What are the chances that Washington just rolls with the football team? Like, they don't even change the name. They just they just roll out football team for the next 20 years and do absolutely nothing to the logo, do nothing to the color scheme. I think that'd be kind of funny. But yeah, football team and the Rams and the Bucks are your first three defenses. Defenses in these leagues too, because of the scarcity. With 35 rounds, they typically go off the board a little bit earlier too. So usually, actually, that's pretty normal. I'm thinking about it. Rams usually go off the board 16th round. So yeah, that's pretty normal. Yeah. So Ty, yeah, appreciate it. Yeah, I'm glad that explanation makes sense to you about my theory of not handcuffing Madison. Um, yeah, exactly. You don't want to bet on a separate range of outcomes playing out. That's exactly right. I mean, you just, this team is dead if Cook doesn't hit, if Cook doesn't get me his 18, 20, 22 points per game that he's usually putting up, regardless of what happens, right? This team is dead. Like, unless, I mean, really, I mean, it's just such like thin margins that you're operating on when you're taking, backs early in the first round, because there is such a high bust rate potential, but the payoff is massive, right? With McCaffrey and Cook and Henry. Those guys, those are the true league winners. And it's just, you're gifted a league winner when you get a first three overall pick. I mean, you're literally just gifted one. You just have to hope they stay healthy. So yeah, glad that makes sense. I appreciate that. All right, so we are starting 17th round. Steelers and the Ravens go off the board. Nice little defense pairing there, followed by Van Jefferson. One of the things I'm going to have to think more about with Hurts on my Hurts team is I'm not really stacking Hurts. And I think in tournaments, like, this is a massive, massive tournament. There's going to be however many thousands of entries. And just that little bit of extra upside helps. And I've noticed when I'm taking Hurts, I'm basically never stacking him, which is fine. In like a season-long league, there's no reason to stack Hurts with anybody. But I've kind of noticed myself not doing it. And I had a chance to take Rager a few rounds ago, but I think that's when I took James White. Let's see. Or did he go off the board before that? No, it was when I took McKissick. I had a chance to take Rager. So I'm fine with that, but that's something I'm trying to think about more of, is like, even with the Konami code quarterbacks, you don't necessarily have to stack, especially in like a just normal 12-team league, right? You're just trying to beat 11 people. But here I'm trying to beat thousands of people. So I'm trying to give myself just that much more weekly upside. And I've noticed when I'm playing in tournaments, I'm not stacking Hurts. So I think that's a mistake I need to try to fix. But it's hard with the Eagles, man. Like, I don't love Devontae Smith's price. I think he's a little bit too juiced up. Rager's fine, but I'm often taking other receivers in that range. So that's something I got to think about. But speaking of receivers here, you guys are going to see me lose it if my guy slips here. I don't know if he's going to make it, but we'll see. 3 picks here. Ravens kicker. Definitely going to take a defense here at this turn. And that's the defense I wanted, but it's okay. Baby, let's go. My second rookie receiver, Kadarius Toney. Like, I have receipts with Scott. Like, I did not like Kadarius Toney as the prospect, but I love Kadarius Toney at this price. 203 overall for a guy who went 20th in the NFL draft. Like, yeah, sure, maybe. It's the same conversation we had with Kenny Galladay. Like, sure, Jason Garrett doesn't excite me. Sure, Daniel Jones doesn't excite me. But these prices, yeah, I want Kadarius Toney on my team. He's whatever. I could count it up. He's probably like the receiver 75 in this draft. And I just got, easy upside with a guy who's amazing after the catch. And Toney, I actually was calculating going through my exposures on BB10s. I've only done like 10 BB10 drafts so far, at like the 25 and 50 and $100 buy-in level. And I did a couple for our fantasy points, $10 ones. I've drafted Kadarius Toney on 9 out of those 10 teams so far. So I just think it's kind of just a free pick at this point, just free access to a guy who's explosive after the catch. Sure, he probably doesn't have like direct access to a big target share, and he's not going to be a Justin Jefferson type league winner, but he definitely has some week winning potential for sure. All right, so I kind of got caught out here at the end of this defensive run. I wanted the Niners or the Bills. I'm fine with the Saints here though. So Saints is the first defense. In all of the NFFC and best ball 10 leagues, you have to take three. Like the data and the win rates are like unequivocal. Like even if you take, I suppose if you take like the Rams and the Bucks or something like that, you probably don't need to take three in like a 12 team league. But in this one, you need to have three, just to give yourself options, and preferably three that don't have all the same buy, as well. But I'm probably going to be left with two skanky defenses as my second and third ones, but that's fine. It's kind of just the way the board fell, because if I wanted to take my first defense in the 16th round over John Brown, it would have been a little bit of a stretch. Maybe not. I don't know. Maybe that was a mistake, but um, it's fine. Saints are a fine anchor. The number one, one of the top things I've found that correlates to defensive fantasy points is wins. And the Saints certainly are going to be at the top of the NFC South, even without Breeze again. I think they're just going to keep on rolling and pick up 9-10 wins this year. Defense is pretty strong once again. So Chargers, Cardinals are the defenses that go off the board there. Chargers were the other one. I had four in my queue. I got my third one with the Saints. Chargers have more talent than the Saints for sure, but it's the Chargers. Like I don't really trust their staff. I trust the Saints staff way more. So we'll see if I can get lucky with my second defense. Probably not going to happen though. So we'll come back to it. But 18th round is rolling on here. We are flying through this thing. We're already an hour into it basically, and we're more than halfway done. Again, 35 rounds. We'll probably cut this off like round 20 or 22, so y'all don't have to listen to me blabber about like whomever, like Tyler Johnson or whatever on the Bucks or whomever. So we'll cut it off here soon, and get out of here. But yeah, I like this team a lot, man. Actually, I really like this team. I was worried that the Sanders passing up on Sanders in the fourth round would come back to bite me, but I think it worked out okay with the four guys I got as my RB2 through RB5 with Dylan Edwards, McKissick, and White. Love the receivers. I mean, I wish. I mean, there's really nothing I could want. Nothing more I could want with receivers. With Cooper, Woods, Lockett, Galladay. Woods is the anchor. He's the consistent guy. He's my guy that's going to get me 50 to 60, 5 catches, 60 yards every week. And then I have plenty of touchdown upside, plenty of big play upside with Cooper, Lockett, and Galladay, and Marv Jones, and John Brown. I got two high upside rookies that are, people. I love fading the public on these rookies, man. Like draft Twitter's hit rate on rookies is awful. Like my hit rate on rookie receivers is awful too, but it's just an easy contrarian play. Like easy when, guys like Bateman and Tony and, Rondale Moore are coming off the board in like the 14th through 17th round, and people literally just don't want them. Like I'll take that easy upside, high explosive players, and what should be good offenses, especially with the Ravens and Cardinals, top 12-ish offenses. Giants have the potential. They got plenty of playmakers to make that leap into the top 12. But like, said before, Daniel Jones and Garrett are hanging over our heads. But yeah, just love going against the grain, going against the public with some of these, rookie receivers that people don't want. So yeah, love that. And got Waller and Hooper. I've got a late round best ball buys article coming out next week. It's kind of taking me a little bit of time here because we're doing the franchise focus stuff too. But Hooper is like my guy. He's the late round tight end this year, I think. Just everybody was, he had that monster year with the Falcons a couple years ago. Then he was way overpriced last year. New team, run first team, new team, and now he's free. Easy access to 50 catches, probably 550 yards, a couple touchdowns, and potentially upside for more. Browns are strict 12 personnel team. I shouldn't say strict. I mean, I guess they can go back to three wide with Beckham back healthy. But yeah, love Hooper. Okay, so I'm back here with the 19th round pick. The 19th round. You know what? Let's just go ahead and put myself out of misery with these defenses here. Take the Bears. Let's see what this guy does here at the turn. Slayton. Yeah, he's on the Giants too. Dolphins kicker. Okay. Um, plenty of good kickers left. There's going to be a run. I'm definitely going to miss some of these elite kickers, but I could go ahead and just close out my defenses here, which I think I'm going to do. Is it that big of a drop off? Yeah, it is. Okay. So we'll close out the defenses. All right, I got my 3 with Saints, Bears, and Seahawks. Fine with that. Teams probably all going to be at the minimum 7 win range to 11 win upside. Seahawks defense was much, much improved in the back half of last year. I think it kind of went under the radar a little bit about, how much better this defense was last year, especially in generating pressure. Like they got no pressure on the quarterback in like weeks 1 through 8. And then they really picked it up. They had I think maybe 3 or more sacks in like 5 or 6 straight games, something like that to close out the year. And the Bears are solid. I don't think they've built that defense very sharply, I'll say, with Fuller leaving, but yeah, I'm good with those. And then we'll come back and we'll get some kickers. But yeah, you guys don't want to see me take kickers. I think this has been fun. We've been at it for an hour. I need some tea because my voice is going out. I'm also like sick as a dog, so I'm gonna get out of here. But everybody, thank you for listening. Ty, Bob, Mike Sanda, I saw you in the YouTube chat. Thank you guys for popping in there and asking some questions. That was cool. We'll do these. Ben is out next week. We're gonna do pretty much one per week until the season. So I'll probably do a couple more, at least one more going forward. Yeah, I think I mentioned it. Franchise Focus is starting next week. We're gonna go in alphabetical order. So we'll go with the Cardinals, Falcons, so on and so forth, all the way down the line. Be sure you're checking those out, man. They're going to be unbelievable. I mean, I've already read through the first 4 or 5 we've done. We got the whole staff on them. Joe and Tom are writing the player profiles. Brawley's helping out also with the betting stuff. Scott's doing his strength of schedule. I'm doing like pace and tendencies and stats. Wes is doing scheme notes. John's wrapping it all up with his thoughts. So yeah, it's just like kind of an immersive kind of group project that we're working on. I feel like we're in the old school days with the group projects, but in all seriousness, it's going to be awesome. You guys are definitely going to want to check that out. And if you haven't subscribed already, promo code earlybirdmiss21 for 10% off. It's been floating at the top of the screen. You've probably already seen it, but again, to get that 10% off so you can read the Franchise Focus series. And seriously, I mean, I would say this if I weren't a part owner in all this. I would say this if I were just like, whatever. It's going to be the best season preview that you can possibly get. So you're definitely not going to want to miss out on it. But enough blabbering. I've been talking for an hour and 4 minutes straight. I'm sure Ben wants to go walk his dog and get some food or whatever. So let's get out of here. For Ben, thank you for hanging out. We'll see you next time.